But just a little side point that you mentioned there was the bodybuilding stuff.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I feel it's like, you never really let on like how well you did at that. And I'm really inspired, not just because like I'm interested in that stuff too, but I feel whenever you learn anything to a certain extent, whether it be music, business, bodybuilding, whenever you learn it to its fullest extent, you can always transfer that into other areas of life. So can you tell us like how far you actually took that? Yeah.
I can attribute so much of personal development and mindset and self-belief and all that kind of stuff to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like tons of it.
Yeah.
When I first started, like I said, I was using my dad's weight bench at home. And then when I was at high school, there was a teacher that was a substitute teacher for a couple of months, and his name was Mr. D'Amico. No relation, right? And he had a build on him, right? And so naturally I kind of go, man, you work out? And he goes, yeah, I used to do sprinting. I'm like, okay, sweet. So when we got to chatting, he goes, look, man, if you really want to start to like get bigger, then you should go to the gym. And then he introduced me to a gym in town, and we would go together, right? So like after school, and it probably sounds, I don't know, like the teacher relationship, but like he asked my dad if I could have permission to go with him. Like he did the right thing to make sure that there was nothing, sus going on or anything like that. But we went to the gym. And I got stuck into the gym. He got transferred to another school. And so I stayed, and I stayed working out. Then the owner of that gym said, you should go and meet this guy, Mark. Mark and you have got a similar build, and he's way into competing and all that kind of stuff. And I think you'd really benefit, by working out together. So I met Mark, right? And Mark introduced me to a whole new way of training. And this level of training was based on this current Mr. Olympia champion called Dorian Yates. All right? And Dorian Yates had this, anyway, not to go with too far into detail, but his whole philosophy was training balls to the wall, right? It's like, why spend an hour and a half in the gym when you can achieve that same level of muscular atrophy in 20 minutes, right? So he brought this whole revolutionary type of thinking. But it meant that in order to achieve that sort of muscular atrophy, in order to grow your muscles and get really, really strong, you needed to lift your heaviest weight for as long as possible, for as many reps as possible until failure. You couldn't lift it even half a rep or even a quarter of a rep. So it sounds like, oh, that's all you have to do, but it's actually not all you have to do, because there's this massive mind fuck that goes on when you are lifting, your maximum weight to a point where your body's screaming and it says, don't do this anymore, right? This hurts too bad. Drop the weight. You mad idiot, you know what I mean? Stop putting me under so much pain. And then you've got to then combat that thought with a no, it's another rep, right? Because when you got reps 1 through 10, when does the growth happen? On rep 1?
The other one, like rep 10.
No, on rep 11, right?
That's how it's going wrong.
All right? So the growth happens on rep 11, not 1 through to 10. It's when you can't do any more that you do more, that's where the growth occurs, right? Which is a good metaphor for life, right?
Absolutely.
So it was a very interesting time. Mark and I had become best friends. I was his shadow for many years, because everything around mindset, around belief, around visualization, it led me to growing bigger and stronger and all that kind of stuff. And eventually it led me into competitions. And the competitions is something that I really, really loved. Again, it was a massive mind test, because I had to go from, weighing 90 kilos, high 80s, I think, when I first competed. It was 87, 88 kilos, excuse me. And then trim down to about 72 to get on stage. And avoid all the foods that you really, really love to eat. And so you got to be in this constant calorie deficit, which you need to have some mental toughness to get around. And it sends you bonkers. It controls your life. You're weighing food. You're taking 6 tubs of something to work every single day. You're setting a timer on your phone to to alarm off when is the next time that you eat. I shouldn't say phone, it's a watch back then, right?
Yeah.
So your watch and all the rest of it. It was a very, very intense period, like a 3-month period where you trim down to be as lean as possible to get up on stage. I won my first competition. It was it was a teenage division, so it was under like 18s, whatever, and no one showed up, right? So rather than go up on stage and win a comp that no one else bothered to show up for, they said, would you like to go into the juniors, which is under 21s? So I'm like, fuck, all right. So I did, and I won it.
Yeah.
All right. So that was my taste of, doing something and actually excelling at that thing. And then it became a point where I went on to win the under 90 kilo Mr. New South Wales. They're coiny titles, but Mr. New South Wales. And then I got as far as the Australasian under 90 kilo division, where I got 3rd. That was my second last sort of comp. After that, that was when I met Anita, and we, I had to get a real job and all that kind of stuff, and think about our future. And the passion and everything waned for doing the competitions. But the true values around self-belief, around visualization. I would get up every morning of a competition and have this stationary bike in my bedroom, and I would watch a bodybuilding video at the same time. And then when that finished, I would close my eyes the whole time, and I would just visualize getting up on stage. And then I would visualize going through all the poses, and then I'd visualize them going, congratulations, Adrian. And I visualize myself going, yes, and I've won. And I visualize everyone going like this, right? I would just do that every single day. And when people say to me, oh, you're going to compete, yeah? How do you think you'll go? I go, I think I'll win. And people used to get freaked out about it because I was like 19 and 20, you know what I mean? So this is in the 90s, right? And yeah, late 90s. And so when you heard someone go, I think I'm going to win, they think, this arrogant prick, right? Like, who does he think he is? That's how I convinced myself that I was going to win that competition. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I won, or I got 2nd, or at worst I got 3rd. That was like a worst place.
Wow. What powerful life lessons to learn at such a young age, like the self-belief and the visualization, like to know that at that point and to sort of etch it out in your mind, and then it to become a reality. Then you just believe in that process so much, because I feel like most people know, it's not just training, business, anything, like most people know how to do the basics. Most people know how to lift a heavy weight. Most people know how to eat chicken and broccoli. But the difference is between succeeding and not succeeding is all the things you're talking about there. And I think people skim over the top of that all the time. Whereas you went into, like, as you do, into incredible depth to learn that thing, and then the results reflected that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.